Welcome to another episode. I'm Sam, and no, this is not a tutorial about how to get oil out of your driveway. That's actually a leftover remnant of a mishap on a Prius axle job, which the Prius is sold now, by the way, also. And those of you that have watched some of my videos may recognize this parking space as where I usually work on the E500 Mercedes. Well, that's also sold. So there's something new in my life. There she is back there. We'll get to that in a second. But I wanted to do one last video to cover some of the information that's been brought up about some of my SBC pump videos and answer some final questions about that and the E500. So let's go sit somewhere nice over here. Yep, there she is. I set up a fun spot right here to sit and talk. So basically, I'm gonna grab my notes here because I don't want to miss anything for you guys. But basically, there's been a lot of questions tied to my SBC pump videos. So here's some important information. First of all, Mercedes extended the warranty on these in the US now. So if they've turned you down before for service, go back, because it's now a 25-year warranty instead of, I think it used to be 10. So you can take your car in there, they will fix it for free as long as you're in the United States. Second of all, don't try to diagnose this without the codes, guys. You can't figure out what's wrong with your SBC pump unless you check the codes, plain and simple. And if you've watched my other videos, I explain what the codes are to look for. They talk about the pump cycles and how many pumps cycles are too many and that type of thing. The brushes. A lot of people have emailed me about these brushes. I do not recall the size, and the sizes are different in the different pumps. There's lots of different pump models and lots of different sizes. So me telling you a pump brush size is not going to help you. What I will tell you is, if you want to try to get these replacement brushes for your SBC pump, you need to look at a few different things. First of all, you need to match a brush size that is the same as or bigger than your brush. The reason why is because you can get some 100 grit sandpaper and you can rub the brush on it to change the size. You can make it smaller, thinner, shorter, whatever you need to do for the brush that you have to get it to where it needs to be to work in your pump. Second thing you need to look at, there's a little wire that comes out of the back of the pump. You need to make sure that this wire comes out in a similar location as the brush that you have. If your brush pump wire comes out of the back, then you need a replacement brush with a wire that comes out of the back, not out of the middle. But most importantly, when you get these brushes, don't just buy some random brush on eBay. You have to make sure the brush that you're getting is for use in a DC motor. The material that these brushes are made out of is different for AC and DC. So don't even try to buy something on eBay, guys. You need to talk to a brush company that you can have an actual discussion with a salesperson on the phone, and they can talk to you about what your application is, 12 volt DC, and that it's in a pump, and they can figure out the right brush for you to get. There's a few websites where I found where you can get this kind of information. One is www.carbonbrush.com. The other one is www.helwigcarbon.com. That's HELWIGCARBON.com. Those are a couple websites to get you started, guys. Other than that, I can't be a lot of help on this anymore. It's been a long time since I pulled that pump apart, and I basically did all the research specific for my situation with my brush. Some people asked about my pump. did it get fixed? Well, yes and no. The pump worked, it was fixed. The code that I was having the issue with was cleared. The problem is there was 2 codes in my pump, and one was totally unrelated to the brushes. It was about a pressure sensor, and there's actually a sensor inside the brush that measures a pressure sensor inside the pump that measures pressure in the lines, and that sensor had gone bad also. So I don't know of any way to repair that sensor. Ultimately, guys, I had to buy a pump from a junkyard. I was lucky to find the exact same part number pump from a junkyard, and I put it in my car and it worked. That leads me to a few other things. When you run into this problem, you've got 2 options. One is you try to fix your pump, or the other is you try to replace it. If you replace it, what I've found is it seems like there's a different part for the 4MATICs than there is for the non-4MATICs, so that's one thing to watch out for. Also, there is no SCN coding from what I can tell on these pumps, so you can swap one pump for another pump. Your best bet to do that is to try to get one with the same exact part number. If you're going to get a new one and put it in there, I'd recommend getting it from FCP Euro. Those guys will give you a lifetime guarantee on the part, and some of these new rebuilt pumps or the refurbished ones from Mercedes, they go bad in a few years, I've heard. So that's some more information there, guys. And their pricing is pretty reasonable too. Yeah, so I'm just checking my notes here because I made a bunch of notes that I wanted to cover information for you guys on. Yeah, the SCN coding, it looks like it's not a factor. Some other people have asked, can you replace the pump? Is it possible to do it without the Mercedes diagnostic tools? Actually, I'm going to pause the video here for 1 second, guys. Okay, I had to switch sides here. I'm filming this by hand. I'm just holding the camera and my arm's getting a little tired. But here is another question. Can you do this without the Mercedes tools? I think maybe you could. I think it might be possible. I think that, and I'm talking about replacing the pump. I'm not talking about repairing it, because in order to repair it, you have to clear that code. You have to reset in the Zentry tools the pump counter. I think there's something on eBay or Alibaba that you can buy. I don't know if that tool works or not. The only way I know for sure to do it is with the Zentry tools to reset the counter, the Mercedes diagnostic tools. But could you replace a pump without that? I think you might be able to pull it off. And here's, I'm not recommending you attempt this, but I've been asked if it's possible, and I think it might be possible. And here's how. First of all, I read a few things online that it's possible to deactivate the pump or loosen the pressure on the pump, because the risky part with these pumps, guys, is they have lots of pressure in them. So it's possible to basically drop or disable the pressure in the pump without actually having the Zentry tools. If you look into that, I think it's in the forums, there's some process that some people mention it might be possible to do. So if you find a way to do that safely, then I think you could probably pull it off, because basically you would have to disable your pump, take it out of the car, get yourself the same pump with the same part number from a junkyard that supposedly is supposed to be a good pump. At that point you install it, and then you just need to do a really thorough brake flush job. And there's a tool from Motive called the Power Bleeder, I believe it is. And if you check the forums, there's also information on that too. I'll try to send some, if I can find this info still, I'll put links in the the video info too to this stuff. But basically, you'd have to do a thorough bleeding of the whole brake system and really flush it out really well. And if you use the motive power bleeder, I think you could do that. So that thing's a couple $100, I think 100 or 200 bucks. And then a pump would be a few $100 at a junkyard, and then the brake fluid. So you might be able to fix this for under 500 bucks in your car. But again, Mercedes covering it under warranty now in the US. So that should be your first stop. I hope this information has been helpful, guys. I hope the other videos were helpful. I'll tell you real quick about what's behind me. It's a 2014. I just picked her up. I picked her up a few months ago. 2014 E550 Coupe. So it's the two-door rear-wheel drive E550, black red leather interior, Distronic package. So that means it sort of drives itself. It's got the lane assist. It's pretty cool, guys. It was difficult for me to find this car, and I'm really happy with it. It's a twin turbo V8, so we're gonna have some fun with this car. Keep on the lookout for some info on this. Is gonna be Project E550, guys. Take care, and if you leave any other questions in the comments, I'll try to answer them the best that I can. And be on the lookout for the new project. Bye.